Welcome to the final project in Core Formulas. This lesson uses a dedicated spreadsheet, not the tracker from the previous lesson. We'll clear the lesson area and build a reusable monthly budget system with a transaction ledger, planned versus actual comparisons, category totals, and a compact dashboard that updates when the source data changes. Name the file Monthly Budget Tracker, Lesson 3.8, and turn on wrapping for columns A through O so our longer labels stay readable. Then add a title across the top of the ledger, merge those cells, make the title bold, and center it. Reusing this dedicated sheet keeps repeated recordings predictable without creating duplicate files in Drive. The ledger is the single source of truth for the whole tracker. In row 3, create 7 fields: date, type, category, description, planned, actual, and difference. Each row below represents one budget line. We'll use one income record and 5 expense records, with clear categories that can be summarized later. The values are fictional and intentionally include a few small differences between plan and reality. Salary matches the plan. Housing matches. Utilities and food run slightly high, transport comes in under budget, and insurance matches its target. Keeping planned and actual amounts side by side makes the later formulas both useful and easy to audit. Now make the difference column consistent. For income, more actual income than planned is favorable, so we calculate actual minus planned. For an expense, spending less than planned is favorable, so the subtraction must run the other way, planned minus actual. In G4, if checks whether the type in B4 is income. If it is, the formula returns F4 minus E4, otherwise it returns E4 minus F4. The salary row returns 0 because actual equals planned. Select G4 through G9 and fill down. The negative utilities and food results flag overspending. The positive transport result shows money left in that category, and 0 means the line landed exactly on plan. Because the sign has one meaning everywhere, this column is much easier to scan. A transaction ledger is detailed, but a budget also needs a category view. In I2 through L2, create category, planned, actual, and remaining. List the 5 expense categories below. For housing, SUMIF looks through the ledger's category column, finds rows matching I3, and sums their planned amounts. The dollar signs lock the source ranges while I3 stays relative. The actual formula uses the same criterion but sums the actual column. Remaining is planned minus actual. Select the 3 formulas together with the empty rows below and fill down. Each row automatically picks up the category name beside it. Finally, add a total row. Sum across the 5 category rows gives planned expenses of $2,550 and actual expenses of $2,565, so the total remaining amount is -15. This summary is driven entirely by the ledger, not retyped totals. The final calculation block is a compact dashboard. Add metric and value in N2 and O2, then list actual income, actual expenses, balance, savings rate, and status. Actual income uses SUMIF on the type column and sums actual amounts only where the type is income. Actual expenses does the same for expense. Balance subtracts expenses from income. If the remaining balance is directed to savings, savings rate divides that balance by actual income, with IF error returning 0 if there is no income yet. Finally, status compares actual expenses with the planned expense total in J8 and returns on budget or over budget. With the current sample, income is $3,200, expenses are $2,565, balance is $635, the savings rate is just under 20%, and status reports over budget because expenses exceeded the plan by 15. The dashboard compresses the ledger into 5 decisions you can read at a glance. The calculations work, so now make the tracker comfortable to use. Bold the ledger header, both summary headers, and the category total row. Apply the standard date format to the ledger dates. Apply the spreadsheet's currency format to planned, actual, difference, category totals, and the dashboard's first 3 values. The visible currency symbol depends on the spreadsheet locale, but the stored numbers do not change. Apply % to the savings rate. Finally, select row 3 and use View, Freeze, up to row 3. The title and ledger headings will remain visible when the ledger grows longer. These formatting steps change presentation and navigation only. Every formula continues to calculate from the same underlying values. A tracker is only useful if one edit flows through every summary. Suppose the grocery receipt is checked and the correct actual amount is 420, not 472. Before editing, the food row has a negative difference. The food category is over plan, total actual expenses are 2,565, and the dashboard says over budget. Replace F7 with 420. The row difference becomes positive 30, food remaining also becomes positive 30, total actual expenses fall to 2,513, balance rises to 687, and the savings rate recalculates to a little over 21%. Most importantly, status changes to on budget because actual expenses are now below the planned total. We edited exactly one source cell, every other change came from formulas. That is the reliability we designed the tracker to provide. Let's review the finished project one block at a time. The ledger stores dates, types, categories, descriptions, planned amounts, and actual amounts. It gives every difference value the same meaning. Positive is favorable, negative is unfavorable. The category summary uses SUMIF to group expenses without duplicating source data, while the total row checks the whole spending plan. The dashboard turns those details into actual income, actual expenses, balance, savings rate, and a plain language status. Date, currency, and percentage formats make the numbers readable, and the frozen title and header rows prepare the file for a longer month. Finally, our one-cell grocery correction proved that every dependent result updates automatically. You now have a complete monthly budget tracker built from a clean dedicated spreadsheet and ready to adapt with your own categories and records.